Why should you choose Nolf, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City? Why wouldn't you choose them? At Nolf, their sales are speedy and include upfront and straightforward pricing. If it's service and parts you're after, they have skilled technicians who are factory trained while offering knowledgeable parts experts. Maybe you need Nolf's full service body shop offering top quality collision repair to all makes and models of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Or do you want to cruise the highway in a clean, shiny vehicle thanks to Nolf's detailing service? No matter your needs, Nolf, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City is there for you. Find out more at nolfchryslerdodge.com. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Another edition of Nolf, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. Nolf Bites here at the store in Fairmont City. I'm Chris Rossetti. I'm with Ronnie Geist, Andy Byers. They're happy down here in Fairmont City this week as their Red Bank Valley Bulldogs advance to the District 9 championship game where they will meet District 9's newly crowned all-time leading rusher Aiden Bliss and the defending champion Port Allegany Gators. And that was one of the two big games on Saturday. Port Allegany defeating Keystone, Red Bank Valley over Union AC Valley in District 9. And then, of course, on Friday night, Karn City won its first championship since 2000. I think it was 22, 21, maybe. Whatever. First time in like 4 years that they won. So it must have been 21, beating the three-time defending champion Central Clarion, who turned the ball over 5 times. And then Punxsutawney won its first title since 2009, defeating Clearfield in 4A in District 9. And then over in District 10, we had the Farrell Steelers 52-0 of Mercier's Prep to win the 2A title. That's important to fill District 9 because they will play at Karn City on Friday night. Punxsutawney will play Oil City, who won the District 10 championship last week in a 4A game. And then 3A in District 10 will be another slugfest between Hickory and Sharon. I think third straight year those two teams have met for the championship. And then in single A, it's Wilmington and Greenville from a game that I think was 21-6 earlier in the year, won by Wilmington. So lots of good football going on, Ronnie.
What do you think the best game next round is?
Oil City, Punxsutawney.
Yeah, when you were naming them off, that sounds like it would be a good one.
Yeah, I think that's got a chance to be a really good game. Think that I think Port Allegany Red Bank could be an interesting game. Although that game was played this year already, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played once. Yep.
How'd that go for you guys?
It's like everyone that plays Port, good till Bliss gets upset, and then he just kind of takes over, I
mean, he had 329 yards and 6 touchdowns against Keystone on Saturday. Broke Nick Stewart's all-time District 9 rushing record in the process. It's crazy. Bliss didn't carry the ball one time as a freshman. Now he's the all-time leading rusher. That said, interestingly enough, because of the number of playoff games they played, him and Stewart had the exact same number of games played.
What's the number?
45. And the rushing record now is 7,332 yards. Maybe the crazy part here, though, they both played the same number of games, right? Bliss played 45 so far. Stewart played 45 in setting his record. Stewart carried the ball for Kerwinsville in his 4-year career 1,016 times. Now, that's a heck of an average. That's 7.2 yards.
I was going to say, that's 6-7 yards.
7.2. Yeah, okay. We're just going to skip right through that. And then Bliss, on the other hand, is only carried it 762 times. He averages 9.6 yards a carry in his career. In his career, he averages 9.6 yards a carry. 114 touchdowns on 762 carries. He scored a touchdown like once every 7 times he touches the football.
How many touchdowns did the other guy have?
The other guy had 94.
Still had a lot.
Yeah, still a lot. But his 94, remember, came on 1,016 carries. So
didn't that kid from Kerwinsville have something like at one game had like 49 carries or
Something like
something
that.
absurd.
Yeah, something nuts. Just crazy when you think about it. It was Bliss's 20th 200-yard game of his career, his second 300-yard game. The nuts thing about his two 300-yard games, both in playoff games, state semifinals and then district semifinals.
What did he have in the state finals? Do you remember off the top of your head?
Like 280, 250, something like that.
Yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine, was asking like kind of what we were going to do to slow him down, and I said, what do you mean slow him down? He had over 200 yards in the state championship game. Like, there's no slowing him down.
So his numbers in the playoffs last year, starting in the playoffs last season, this is stupid. These are his playoff numbers over the last 2 years: 290 yards, 295 yards, 284 yards, 300 yards, 250 yards, 329 yards. Those are playoff numbers. Like, it's supposed to get harder in the playoffs, not easier.
Did he maintain his 10 yards a carry?
No, it was just a little I don't know. Like what's that? I can't do the I'm not good at doing math on the top of my head, but let's see 290 and 295 and 284. Yeah, this is just riveting radio podcast stuff right now, right? So 1,748 yards in his last, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In his last 6 playoff games, the dude has rushed for 1,750 yards. Yeah, there's no slowing him down, Ronnie. You got to hope for like the flu or something.
But teams must not have thought he was going to run the ball. What do you think?
If you go back and watch that Keystone game last week, he looked like he ran harder that game than I think I've ever seen him run. He was running the ball downhill aggressively.
Oh yeah, and by the way, he scored 8, 11, 16, 16 and 9 is 25 touchdowns over that stretch too. I mean, you talk about athletes, right? And you talk about athletes and do they get better? Like, how do they perform when the bright lights are on? And my goodness, the kid just the more important the situation, the better the game.
Right.
I mean, yeah, I mean the state championship game was his worst game at 250 yards. Now he ran the ball 47 times that day, so he only averaged 5 yards a carry, 5.3 I think is what that adds out to be. But there are no words anymore, and it just is. Ronnie's got to get up and take care of a customer here, and but there's just no words for it anymore. Andy, are there?
No, I don't think so. I mean, obviously he's got a good group that surrounds him to do that. And I'm sure, I don't know Aiden Bliss, but just some of the clips and things I read about what people say about him, I think he gives a lot of credit probably to them guys around him and stuff too. So at the end of the day, it takes a whole team, but he's definitely a major, major piece of that team. And I even look at the other running backs through the years for Port Allegheny. Even with him doing and putting up the numbers he has, they've still had some successful kids running the ball aside from him.
I mean, this past week, I called Justin Minkowski and we were talking a little bit about this, right? And I'm like, boy, you feel like you don't look real smart that you didn't have him run the ball at all as a freshman, right? And Justin's laughing and he's going to me. He's like, yeah, he's like, he wasn't ready yet. He wasn't ready to run the football yet. He had a situation where they had 2 other running backs in Blaine Moses and Mike Archer who were really good. And they had a situation where Aiden still had some things that he had to figure out. And, so they just never handed him the ball as a freshman. And
maybe that attribute to some of his success. Not starting him when he wasn't ready.
It's possible that that's the case. You don't know. Like, you just don't know what might be what happened and why he but this kid just, he's mature, he's a great player. Picked up his first offer last week, which is crazy. Clarion offered him.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I saw that graphic and I thought, nobody's called that kid.
It's crazy. We've talked about that a couple times on the show. It's crazy. Speaking of another running back, got a chance to see some film on Jules Johnson at Farrell. My goodness, is that kid good? He's going to Nebraska. He's the whole package: speed, power. Carson City's going to have their hands full.
Is he size wise? Do you think he's relative to what Bliss is, to kind of put it in perspective for people?
So Jules Johnson, let's see what they list him as. I'm curious what they list him as. They list him at 6 foot, 180. So Bliss is actually a little bigger than him. But we've talked about that, how like the college game seems to be trending more towards that 5'11", 6 foot kid over that 6'1", 210 kid.
Yeah, and it's kind of phone booth speed. You know, how quick are you inside of a yard and a half? You know, I've never seen the kid play, but it could translate differently, you know.
No question. I mean, Jules Johnson has rushed for 1,761 yards and 26 touchdowns. I don't know if that includes the game the other day. Let's see if that includes the Mercyhurst Prep game here. It does.
That in the playoffs.
It does. And, it was like 11 carries, 220. I had him for 223, whatever. We're quibbling on 3 yards there. Who cares? 11 carries, 220 yards against Eisenhower the week before, 8 carries, 195 yards. I mean, 7 touchdowns in his 2 playoff games this year. It's a little nuts. To give you an example, let's see, what did he do against Clarion, Central Clarion last year? Those are still the. Hold on a second here. Let's see what we've got here. He against Central Clarion last year. I don't have those numbers handy right now, unfortunately.
Well, if there's a team locally that can contain them, Carson City's definitely built to do that. I mean, they might be a little not used to maybe seeing that type of athleticism in person, but
ran for 138 yards against Central Clarion last year on 24 carries. So, I mean, I'm not sure anybody else outside of Troy did that to the Wildcats last year. The dude's real. They've got a really good quarterback, junior quarterback, Anthony Pegues. Aaron Pegues. Anthony's his dad, who's the head coach. Amp, everybody calls him Amp. Really great guy, by the way. If you ever had an opportunity to talk to Amp Pegues, do so. One of the good guys out there. I've had an opportunity to have a few discussions outside of like a high school football setting with him, and he's also the athletic director at Farrell, and just a really good dude. They're the real deal. I think they could go to a state championship game. I think they could win a state championship.
Well, they're definitely a storied program over there.
They are. Really, that whole, there's a group of 3. Rich Rhodes and I were talking about this last night. Rich Rhodes, the sports editor of the Leader Vindicator, Jeffersonian Democrat, also helps us on the site. And, we were talking about this last night, and, there's some storied programs over there in Mercer County. You've got Wilmington, you've got Farrell, you've got Sharpsville. Those are state known greatness there. Right. And, it's a really, really good football area right there in and around Mercer. Wilmington's technically not Mercer County, it's Lawrence County, but it's close enough.
Yeah, those are names that are known even on their bad years. If you're playing them, you're in for a tough one.
Yeah, Farrell and Wilmington both played in the Whippeal for a long time. And they had all kinds of success in the Whippeal. And
how did that work? How did they get to the Whippeal from there?
I don't know the full story, and I think in a lot of cases they were originally Whippeal and then ended up in District 10, and it had more to do with geography at the end of the day. They're kind of on that fringe. Like, people don't know this. Slippery Rock was at one point in time in District 9 and is now in District 10. You think about, now they don't play football. They do as a co-op, and that's the other thing. When you talk about that Oil City Punxsutawney matchup, there's some really key players on that Oil City team, like Cole Finley and some guys who are from Cranberry. They're Cranberry students as part of a co-op there. So that's kind of like a sub District 9, 10 team that's been together at Oil City. And
I didn't know that was a co-op.
Yeah, that's a co-op. And Cole Finley, I think Finley might even be the quarterback for Oil City. He's a Cranberry kid. He'll be a key player in basketball.
Has that been a co-op for a while?
It has been now. They were co-oping with Cranberry co-op with AC Valley for a long time, and then they switched to Oil City, and that's been really good for them.
Yeah, because Oil City's that's a big school.
And that's exactly it. Cole Finley is the quarterback at Oil, so I was pretty sure of that. And that's when you get your quarterback. Now they're a team that likes to run the ball, obviously, but when you get your quarterback from the co-op at Cranberry, that's a big deal,
right?
And he's a really good basketball player, and it'll be a big reason why Cranberry's a really good team in basketball as well. But that should be a pretty good game, as we were talking about, and
Well, Punxsy beating Clearfield.
I mean, I didn't pick it, but I probably should have. Punxsy beating Clearfield. I mean, they were the better team this year.
Well, I just think it kind of cements how good Punxsy was.
Yeah, I think so.
It puts them on.
Now, Clearfield lost its quarterback in the game, and I don't know how that might have affected.
Oh, it's definitely going to affect, the game plan. You can't lose your number one. I mean, I don't know their circumstance, but if you lose your number one, it drastically limits.
And he's okay as a passer, but he's a really good athlete, can run the ball and do some stuff like that. Greatest first name of all time for their backup quarterback, O'Brien. His first name's O'Brien.
O'Brien.
Yeah. O'Brien. O'Brien Owens. I always got to look to see if there's an apostrophe. I don't think there is, but like I've seen it differently in different places, but I'm pretty sure it's just O and then Brian.
Interesting.
A little bit of Irish there, wouldn't you think?
Right.
O'Brien Owens. Pretty good baseball player too, O'Brien is. And so it's an interesting week.
This is completely off topic.
Yeah, go ahead.
But you speaking of Clearfield, I just read, I read it, that there was a Bigfoot sighting towards Penn State. I'm a Bigfoot guy. I think that's cool.
You go up to the Bigfoot Festival, Ronnie?
I don't.
In Marionville.
I don't.
How can you be a Bigfoot guy and not go to the Dave Yaney's Bigfoot Festival?
He's scared.
What if the Bigfoot's there?
Wasn't that part of why you're a big Bigfoot guy? You want to see Bigfoot?
I don't necessarily want to see him. I think there's enough reason to believe that there could possibly be one.
Yeah, Andy, I'm not with Ronnie on this one. What about you?
I got to see it to believe it type of guy.
Yeah, me too. I think Ronnie's a little off kilter here. It's just a big bear.
I've spent a lot of time in the woods and I've never seen Bigfoot.
There's a lot of woods out there that no one's seen.
Yeah, probably.
Flowing over a lot of woods in this country, and I look down and I never see Bigfoot. And, when you're flying, there's nothing better to do than just look down.
I'm just saying.
What?
You fly a lot.
I don't fly myself. I don't have a pilot license, but no, I don't fly like that.
You kind of said that like you.
Yeah. I fly a lot. Got that Gulfstream over at the Clarendon County Airport that I get on and hop on to, go to games and stuff. And,
you should.
That's where you're spending all that sponsorship.
Yeah, that's where all that sponsorship money's going. I only saw football. Well, I guess technically I saw it on Saturday night too, but I saw it Friday. Didn't get anything Saturday afternoon. I was at volleyball. Corey volleyball team is really, really good. Really good. And shout out to the DuBois girls soccer team too. They're in the state semifinal. They're only the fifth team in District 9 history, boys or girls, to ever make a state semifinals in soccer. Trying to become the first team ever to make a state championship game. They beat the Whitfield champions, Fox Chapel. Again, was talking to Rich Rhodes about this a little bit. He's got a cousin or somebody that lives down in Fox Chapel. Says some of those girls pay upwards of like $20,000 to like play on travel teams and stuff. Like, can you imagine how much money you have to be spending like $20,000 to play on a travel team?
I'm not questioning what you said, but Carn City girls have always had a good soccer team.
Twice
right?
they've made a state semifinals.
Okay.
1996 and like 2000 something.
So who does DuBois play?
They play the Whitfield runners up. In this case, I think it's South Park.
Another area that there'd be plenty of money to pay $20,000 for soccer lessons.
DuBois has a couple of I can't pronounce her last. I gotta look at the last name to pronounce because otherwise I don't want to to screw something up like this. We don't really talk about soccer on this show very often. We talk about the
football.
Yeah, we talk about the other football, but we don't talk about this football. And but yeah, Du Bois, they're really, I mean, probably the best. Anna Corney, Korney. She has, like Rich was telling me, she had 141 goals as a sophomore. Now,
I'm trying to do the math in my head. That's a lot.
that's a lot of goals.
They play what, 20 games in a season?
Not 100% sure what the actual total number
But
is.
How do you spell her last name?
Korney.
Yeah, okay.
She's on the U.S. under 16 national team.
Oh,
Does she have a brother?
I don't know.
No. There's a Corney from Du Bois that played on Washington Jefferson. He's a tight end.
That's possible.
We'll Google it.
Yeah, we're gonna Google it. Washington, talk about something.
I was going
Ronnie.
to say, you're like the Max Prep master over here on this phone. You like have it on lock. Washington
I
Jefferson.
think Isaiah maybe was.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I remember Isaiah Corney.
Did they win this weekend, Andy? Washington
that?
Jefferson.
They did. That was for the conference championship.
So now that allows them to make the playoffs.
I guess I'm not real sure how that all works yet, but they got one more regular season.
I think
game.
you actually have to like qualify. Like
Yeah,
it's
I
not you don't get like there. I don't think there might not be automatic. There might be. I don't know. There may not be automatic
I
bursts.
think they had to win that to qualify, but I'm not exactly sure how that.
Well,
all goes
are
down.
they undefeated?
Washington Jefferson?
Yeah.
In their conference, they lost 2 out of conference games. So
Yeah,
Oh,
see that
okay.
that puts right kind of on that edge. You never know how that's going to go. Still looking for the Corney on W&J here. Oh, there we go. Isaiah Corney, freshman from Penfield, and they don't have a bio for him. Dang it! I was hoping they had a bio on the W&J site for him.
Well,
either way, he got his name mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, he got his name mentioned. And that's should be what a story that would be for Du Bois if they made the state championship.
That's cool for any sport, any team around the area.
Yeah.
I've never played soccer, but how do you take away, like we talk about taking bliss away, like how do you take a girl like that scores 140 points off the field? Like, how do you defend that? Chances are, if she can score that way, she can dribble the ball to the point where no one can take it from her. The amount of dedication that it takes to be that good would be.
Yeah, I mean, and some of it obviously is just natural talent, right? Like, you natural talent. And
Is she like 6'4"? Or
I don't think
does
so.
size matter in volleyball?
This isn't volleyball. This is soccer.
Or yeah, you're right. You're right. We were talking about. I know we said something about volleyball.
She was our MVP and Rookie of the Year last year. That's how good she was. Like, she's a freshman. She was the MVP. She had all 3 goals in their win over Fox Chapel. Just an incredible. She plays for the Riverhound Academy. The Pittsburgh Riverhounds are the professional soccer team. It's like minor league soccer,
Mhm.
who are actually, I think, in their semifinals. I saw that.
Do they make money?
They must make some money. There's a dedicated following. Like they have a stadium over in Station Square on the south side.
It's a nice
stadium, place. I've actually, believe it or not, guys, I've gone to a couple games.
I was going to take my kids to it, but my kids really like soccer. I thought about doing it. I've talked to.
I'd do it next summer. If I were you, I'd do it next summer.
Yeah.
I went once with my dad and once with Jonathan Schaefer. And it's a good time. It's not overly expensive. I think it was like $20 or something like that to get in. I think the playoff game I saw was like $20 for general admission, $35 for center seats or whatever.
Is that where the women's football plays?
Pittsburgh Passion.
Is that what it's called?
For a while they may have, yeah. And like there's a by the way, this year they also have a minor league women's soccer team too, the Pittsburgh Riverettes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah. People are like, we turned in to listen to the other football.
Yeah.
And they're all clicking off here on us, which is a shame because the European football is a beautiful sport, they say.
They say.
it can be at times. It can also be boring at times, but it's back to the regular football. That D9 title game, you got to do, Ronnie, to win if you're Red Bank. Well, let's give it to Andy. We don't want you giving away any secrets.
I mean, I think they got to do.
Yeah, what do you think?
I can add some stuff in at the end.
Yeah, everything I say, Ronnie's not going to do anyway. But I think the biggest thing with Red Bank right now is I think they've firmed up their defense. The last 2 games against Ridgeway and Union, I think they held their own defensively against the rush game. First round against Port Allegheny, what was the halftime score, Ronnie?
14-6, something like that.
It was competitive. They just it's same old story. Eventually, they just started giving the ball to Bliss, and he won the game for him. But I think ultimately, it's no secret you got to contain Bliss, and I think offensively they're rolling. And I think if Red Bank can hold them to a reasonable amount of points because they're going to score, I think our offense just needs to score. And Braylon Wagner, I like how we kind of spread the ball out last week. I'm always a fan of running the ball, but we've kind of turned into Braylon as our running back. But I think we still have a team. If you spread the ball out and let Braylon just make plays, it's really hard to defend our receivers offensively.
I like the fact that, and Ronnie, maybe you can touch on this a little bit without getting into too much of the secrets, but what was behind the decision to start running Braylon more and utilizing his athleticism a little bit more than maybe had been used in the past?
Well, it really comes down to a lot of things. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. You never want to overuse any kid, no matter what the position is or what their role is.
Unless they're Aiden Bliss.
Right.
Well, they don't know. That's the thing. They don't overuse them. I mean,
they just use them for 9 yards a carry.
Yeah.
But I think there's a time, I kind of told Braylon before the game on Saturday, I said, look, in 4 years, I've never been a coach that's coached you in the sense of like, you have to do this or give you a rah-rah speech. But like our team rallies around his play. And it doesn't always mean that you have to run for 50 yards and score a touchdown. But
South Fayette, by the way, is who Du Bois plays, not South Park. I knew it was a South.
You were close.
Yeah.
But I think just part of it's Braylon maturing a little bit as a leader and realizing like a game against Keystone, like you're in a bad spot. Someone's got to start making a play, and who better to lead than you and to step in. And I kind of joke like, until you've been punched in the face, you don't realize that it really doesn't hurt that bad to get punched in the face. And, he gets hit a little bit and realizes like, okay, I'm good. The team realizes like, hey, if I don't make the perfect block, it's all right because, we can make a play afterwards or we can dump it. And I feel like he's bought into the fact that the more he runs, the easier it becomes to throw the football. Now people have to steer both ways.
This has become sort of a rivalry. This is the second year in a row that you guys have met in the district championship game, or is it the third year in a row? Did you beat Brockway? Did you beat Brockway 2 years ago, or
Brockway was 22, so 23, 24, and 25.
Brockway was the made up hazing incident.
Yes. That was 22. Cam Wagner was the quarterback.
Yeah, that was the I'm Amy or up, hear me roar year. But to go back, obviously, without giving away the secrets to how what you're going to do or how you're going to do it. I think the answer to beat Port Allegheny is what happened to them in the state championship. You have to outscore them. Bottom line, you got to score more points than they do. And I know that's cliche to say, the team with most points wins, but you're not going to stop Bliss from getting 250, 300 yards.
Well, I know this, Bronny. You can't give up 62 points like you did to them last
right.
year.
I'm not. Well, you can if you score 63.
You're not scoring 63 against them. The other part of what they do, they're not terrible defensively.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like people overlook that. But the idea that you're somehow going to magically stop Bliss and hold them under 100 yards and beat them.
Nobody
isn't
holds them under
realistic.
100
right.
yards.
So you have to go out there with the
Heck, very few hold them under 200 yards.
right. You got a shot. And partially, guess what? He can't score rushing touchdowns if your offense is on the field. So
Does
Yeah, I
he
think-
ever fumble?
Occasionally.
yeah,
He's a running back. Every running back fumbles
Yeah,
every
he's
once in a
pretty
while.
sure-handed though.
Yeah.
He takes some big hits and
What, you know, the most amazing thing about what they're doing this year is Tristan Kaiser didn't end up playing. You know, he had the ACL injury late last year and never recovered from it. And I mean, usually you take a player like that away from a team and something goes wrong.
Right.
And yet, you know, they've just kept on chugging.
and they've lost their center.
Yeah.
He didn't play last week. I
Did
shouldn't.
he play again? No, he's done for the
Yeah.
year. Yeah, he's done for the year. He didn't play in the game against Union AC Valley either. And then he came back and got hurt in the Brockway game, Ethan Tarbox, and really a shame senior. And it just, you know, bad
Well,
luck.
If you watch their game against Brockway plays them tough. Brockway, you know, had some mistakes in situations where you can't have mistakes, but Brockway scores a couple times where I think they believe they should have, and a lot of people watching the game believe they should have.
You can score.
That's a completely different
you
game.
can score on them a little bit, but like you talk about that, right? And yet it seems like we talk about that a lot. Well, you know, Keystone had a few plays that they
Right,
left on the
right.
field. Union AC had a few plays that they left on the field. The problem is every football team in every game has a few plays they leave on the field. And against Port Allegheny, you have to play an A-plus
Right.
game where you don't leave those plays on the field. So if you're asking me, how does Red Bank beat Port Allegheny? They do it by playing the cleanest football game they've ever played. It's got to be a game that's cleaner than you've played all season.
with a little bit of luck sprinkled in.
Yeah, and that's how you win that game if you're Red Bank. If you're Port Allegheny, don't make mistakes. You know, like last week they had a situation where they fumbled the ball into the end zone and it was a safety. Don't keep tempting fate like that, because you tempt fate like that too many times, you get upset.
Mhm.
But you know, Justin Minkowski, the head coach up at Port, says it all the time. He's like, you know, maybe we're not as talented as we were, quite as talented as we were last year, but I still have number 31,
Right.
and that's Aiden Bliss's number, and that's, you know, as long as he's healthy, and that's the other. I mean, obviously, injuries can always flip anything that could happen. If he would get hurt early in that game, it changes the whole complexion of the game. Winner plays the winner of that Wilmington-Greenville game. Wilmington's probably the favorite. I mean, like I said, they beat Greenville 21. I think it was 21-6 early. First game of the season, I think it was.
Which was Greenville's only loss,
Yeah.
correct?
And Wilmington has losses, I think, to Faro and Karn City. But you know, nothing to sneeze
Right,
at
those
there.
are two
yeah,
quality
nothing to
losses.
sneeze at there. So you know, the game we didn't talk about at all from last week because it ended up on the losing end. But my goodness, we were talking about DuBois soccer, right? Talk about DuBois football. They lost 49-0 2 weeks ago to Hollidaysburg at Hollidaysburg. This close, Ronnie. 25-24, they lose. I don't know the rule here. I feel like the rule might have been messed up, but I don't know the rule. There was simultaneous catch along the sideline with both players going out of bounds with the football. Simultaneous catch, that rule I know. That goes to the offense. Always has, always will, probably. Should the clock have stopped because they simultaneously caught it and went out of bounds?
Well, I would say
Common sense would tell you it should stop.
Unless there's
because it's still an offensive catch,
Yeah.
obviously, and they're out of bounds.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah, that would be the logic. They didn't stop the clock, and that hurt DuBois. They actually had sent out their kicker, freshman kicker. They were going to try a 49-yard field goal at the end of the game, and then Hollidaysburg called timeout, and they changed their mind and threw a Hail Mary into the end zone that got knocked down. But what an effort by the B. Like, how do you go from losing 49-0? Like, I get maybe you didn't show a lot because you knew you were going to play them again. You still lost 49-0. You lost 49-0, and then you were really winning the game all the way up until the end of the game. Like, they scored with like a minute and a half to go. Hollidaysburg scored to take the lead. Got to give T.J. Wingard and that DuBois group a lot of credit in a losing effort there. That was a heck of an effort.
it's a huge testament to the kids and the coaches.
We forgot a game. We keep forgetting games with Brockway. They're going to get mad at us at one point in time here if we keep doing this. They play Penn Cambria this week at home. Penn Cambria is pretty good. Penn Cambria, I think, has 2 losses. One of those was to Clearfield, though.
What district are they out of?
They're in District 6.
Penn Cambria.
Yeah. Penn Cambria High School.
Is that down like that Indiana region, like down in that way?
Penn Cambria School District is in
I believe it's down there for some reason.
Crescent. It's actually over kind of like by Crescent's where Mount Aloysius is. So you're thinking who
Penn's
the heck?
Manor.
Yeah, you're thinking Penn's Manor. Penn Cambria is over in Crescent. Crescent's kind of like on your way between Indiana and Altoona there. It's way up there in the mountains in Cambria County.
Do you know much about them? Are they a running team? Are they a passing team? Because in playoffs, a lot of times matchups records are out the door. It's all about how they match up.
Penn Cambria 10-2 on the year, by the way, is what their record is. They looking at their stats, they're a really balanced football team. They've run for 3,000 yards. They've passed for 1,700. Okay. So they're a really balanced.
Pretty good high school line.
Yeah, they're a really balanced football team. They've got a kid, Vinglish is his last name, with 1,308 yards and 19 touchdowns rushing. Their quarterback's thrown for 1,500 yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. They're going to be a handful for Brockway. Brockway's going to have to play a really good game there if they're going to win.
Well, it's at home. You hope that home field matters a little bit.
How much do you think home field matters in high school football?
I think that it matters for the first 4 snaps.
What is it about the first 4 snaps?
I think you're going to get the first couple, the kickoff, the first couple snaps. Everyone's excited. The crowd's in it. If the home team does anything good, it stays up, and I think that stays for a while, and then I think it dies out. But if you're a team that can make plays, I'm not, splash plays. You get a 5-yard run's not a splash play, but you sack the quarterback for a 6-yard loss. That home field advantage all of a sudden matters again. Especially if you have a good home field where people show up. It's not like the pros or in college, I don't think, but I think the high school kids feed into it.
Do you like this idea of what the PIAA is doing with first-round playoff games across the board where they're at home sites? I'm not a big fan of it. I don't like it. I think once you're in the state playoffs, you shouldn't be playing home playoff games. They should all be neutral site games. Talking about the state playoffs here. And the way they determine it with just randomly some team on top of the bracket. It's not like Brockway earned a home playoff game here.
Okay.
They didn't earn it with a better record or anything like that. They had the luck of the draw. Karn City is the home team this year because Farrell was the home team last year. Like, there's not, like, I don't know. I don't like it. I just don't like it.
I agree, because I think whether there is a home advantage or not, if you play at a neutral field, it takes that away for both teams.
I like the neutral field.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I like going to, we've been lucky enough.
If it's Brookville and it's 18 miles.
Like honestly though, like, you're in the state playoffs. It should feel like a playoff game.
Right.
And does playing at home really feel like a playoff game? Does going to somebody else's home field really feel like a playoff game? I don't know. Like, I think it's a mistake they've made at the PIAA level. It was a mistake that came about when COVID hit. And I understand why they did it during COVID, but then they just couldn't help themselves. They stuck to their guns with it. They'll tell you it's hard to find facilities. I say hogwash. You're just afraid to tell your member schools that they have to host games.
Yeah, I'd say that other than the ease of scheduling, what would be the other reason?
There isn't one. They'll tell you in some cases it's about attendance, but
they let the home facility keep the gate. They don't have to worry about it.
They don't let the home facility keep the gate.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
If you let the home facility keep the gate, there'd be home facilities everywhere saying, hey, we'll take it.
Well, but they do. They that's the other half of this. Like Brookville, I don't know this for a fact, but I'm guessing Brookville got paid something to have the game. I'll find that out. But like, I know, like Clarion University, when they were Penn West Clarion or whatever they're calling themselves this month, when they do it, they get it's like $1,200 or $2,200 or something like that, which is why you don't see a lot of games there, because they charge out the wazoo. How you like that out the wazoo?
Very.
You like that?
I just don't
Red
get
Knight
it.
tried to play there.
Yeah, and they're going to charge them out the wazoo. You should be glad that they didn't.
I just don't get it why the PIAA needs to take the gate. Or they need to charge someone
And the broadcast
$5,500 or whatever it is to
Yeah,
broadcast.
$1,500 to broadcast this week.
Like,
The first round of the state playoffs.
honestly,
unless
I
it's
don't
on
understand
NFHS. It's stupid.
Where does the money go? What do they do?
It goes to the $170-something thousand that they pay their executive director, and the $150 that they pay their associate executive directors, and those guys come with perks like free cars, some of them, and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they could word salad their way into an explanation, but you would have a lot more people saying, yeah, bring it to North Allegheny, we'll host it. Bring it to Oil City, we'll host it. If they knew that everyone that showed up, even if they got 70%.
Now, I mean, mind you, they have to pay the officials and stuff like that. So I understand.
Which they pay them next to nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, they're still paying them.
Right.
So I understand that part of it. They have.
That's an expected cost already.
They have to buy the awards and things like that. It does take money to run these type of events. It does take money to run a district. I mean, you're going to have some sort of revenue coming. So I think, Ronnie, maybe you've got a better idea, maybe 50-50,
right.
70-30, something like that. Maybe the home team gets to take 30% of the revenue or whatever. But I don't even know how much the revenue is anymore. Like, I think like that 2 weeks ago, I think they had something like 2,000 fans across the entire District 9 in terms of attendance. Okay.
Well, $10 a pop.
Yeah, but it's not $10 a pop because the students aren't $10.
Right.
And so you figure of that 2,000, I don't know, maybe 1,200 of them adults. Okay. So 1,200 adults at $10, that's $12,000. And then 5 times 800, that's 4,100. But it's not even 10 because a lot of people are still buying them online, and it's only 8 if you're buying it online. I know it's 9.5, but they're not getting that extra $1.50. So you're really, let's just say that it's somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say they make about 8. We'll call it 9,000. We'll split it. We'll call it 9,000 that they make on the. They maybe have made like $13,000 in that one round. And then you figure each game has 6 officials on it. And so if you have 7 games at 6 officials, that's 42 officials. Even if they're making $80, which I think they're not, I think they're making a little bit more than 80. But say they're making 80, okay? That's $3,360 right there. And then there's money that goes into
they have to make more.
Yeah, they have to make
They're not showing up for $80, are they?
I don't think so.
Or maybe that's why they can't get refs.
Well, that is part of the reason during the regular season they can't get refs. But say they're paying $4,000 to the officials. They're probably paying the chain crews because it's a playoff game, and you don't want to have necessarily volunteer chain crews in playoff games. They've got to pay the clock operator. Again, you don't want to get into situations where see, this happens at Hollidaysburg, right? Maybe that clock ran when it shouldn't have happened because it's at a home game, where at a neutral site it doesn't run. So this is the problem that you have. So yeah, I don't necessarily begrudge them for taking the gate. And you know, there's other expenses that go along with it. You know, you see all their brackets, right? Well, they're paying, and to be fair in all of this, we get paid as a company to do their website for them. Okay. And so when you see the brackets and stuff, that's costing them money to have to create. When you have somebody running the game, you have to pay that person to run the game. You can't just expect a district committee person to show up and do it for free. I know a lot of people think they're making money hands over fist. Go to the audit meeting some point in time. Like District 9 holds an audit meeting every July. It's open to the public. You can go and see. I'm not seeing them making a lot of money. I'm not saying that there aren't expenses at the PIAA level. Like when you see the executive director making more money than the governor of Pennsylvania or a state legislature, it makes you pause and go, why is that, right? I'm talking about at the local level here, okay? I'm talking about the local level, the District 9s, the District 10s of the world. They're not making money hands over fist, I'm going to defend them in that case. It is not a money maker for them. Is it a money maker at the state level? That I cannot answer. That is, in District 9, truthfully, we talk about the price of doing broadcasting games. District, truthfully, is pretty low in that regard. It's like I think for a football semifinal game, it was $150. For a championship game, it's $300. Go over and see what they're charging in District 10, where it's like along the lines of the PIAA prices.
Do you think they charge that because they want people to walk through that gate? Do you think that's
so?
part of the reason,
So they'll have the argument that having video streaming specifically keeps people from going to games. I think that there is probably a little bit of merit to their argument in some cases. I think there's not in other cases. I think it depends on the sport. I think it depends on the matchups and things like that. And I think that there's a lot of reasons. I mean, if you didn't have a kid playing at Red Bank Valley, would you have even known Red Bank Valley was playing a playoff game this week? I mean, what advertisements did you see from District 9 telling you that Red Bank was playing a football game this week? You didn't see any.
No.
And tell anybody that they were playing a football game. So while I think that argument has a little bit of merit to it, I also think they're not doing nearly enough to promote their own events. Whether that's taking out advertising, whether that's putting up flyers, whether that's going around in towns and having things put up in the towns that they're going to. I just don't think people, like when a guy walks in here, if he doesn't have an attachment to Red Bank football, if you didn't tell him, hey, did you know Red Bank playing this week? Would he really know? Like, newspapers are kind of a thing of the past in a lot of ways, right? Like, I mean, they still exist, but not as many people are buying them. What we're doing is a nice niche type thing, obviously, but I think you have to have an understanding of sports, of high school sports, to know that we exist. Like, there's still a lot of people out there that you talk to. You always find people that are like, oh, hey, I didn't know that was there. You're right. And like,
it's kind of a wonder that District 9 doesn't set up their own broadcasting.
I had that discussion with somebody not too long ago. It is in a little ways, but
I mean, then they can kind of charge they'll charge Andy an annual fee of X amount of dollars, and he don't have a choice. He either watches it through them or he doesn't watch it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, that's kind of what the whole idea behind NFHS is.
Right.
And NFHS does pay the PIAA for its stuff. And there becomes an argument, though. It's high school sports. Should it be set up like pro sports where, this and that? But to answer your question, I get it. Like they definitely probably lose some gate by not having, by people having video broadcasts. I make an argument that if you really want to go, you go. But then is that really the case? Like, I don't know, on Friday night, if I wasn't covering the game, would I have gone to Central Clarion versus Karn City if I could sit at home and watch it? I don't know. I don't know what my answer would have been.
I think.
Did you go, Ronnie? Did you watch
Central Clarion?
Yeah.
No.
Did you watch? Did you watch it?
Yeah.
I don't think, though. I'm not saying that's not a valid argument, but I think you can argue the other side too. And I'll just use Red Bank girls basketball, for instance. I don't have any reason to go to a girls basketball game, but when the basketball team was good, you watch them at home through the season here and there, and you think, well, heck, let's go to that playoff.
I would 100% agree with you.
So it builds interest.
No, you're
with
right.
People who
It
might
does.
not be.
100%, Andy. That is the. I'm glad that you made that argument and not me, because you're just a normal fan sitting there saying that. I say that, people are like, well, you have an agenda to say that. You say that, you're just saying that because that's what you see and how you felt.
And it brings, and and honestly, like that Karn City Clarion game, I watched every minute of it. But if it wasn't live streamed, I wasn't going to that game.
Yep.
But I had the ability to watch it.
So you did, yeah.
So I did, right.
And see, that's the part that I don't think they understand, or they might understand it, but they don't want to understand it because they just see the attendance figures. That there are people that are watching that game that otherwise just wouldn't have cared at all about that game. And so it's good for business to have them caring about that game.
Right.
And it's good for businesses too, because I know locally there's businesses that broadcast the game and they have Joe's Pizza will have 40 people staring at their TVs, ordering pizzas, getting food. You know,
There's no question. I know Dewey Irwin's told me that at the Allegheny Grill with some of our broadcasts. They'll have watch parties, and I know they've had watch parties at the Beer Garden down in Butler County, and like, so yeah, I think that there's other, you know, again, there are a variety of reasons why crowds might be down, and you know, not people not knowing about them is one thing. People being able to watch on video could be part of the problem. The competitiveness of some of the games is an issue. Like, if you know that Farrell is going to beat Mercyhurst Prep by 50, do you really want to go to the game?
Not unless you're invested in it with a child or something.
You know, and I know people blame 6 classes, but I don't know if you guys saw it. I wrote a whole thing last week on how 6 classes has actually worked the way it's supposed to work. You know, it's given teams more opportunities. I mean, you saw it at Red Bank Valley. You probably don't.
6 classes makes the KSAC, the District 9 relevant in football.
It does, and across the board, it's made things relevant across the board. You know, it just. I'm looking real quick to see if I could find it. But like the numbers are something like between District 9 and District 10, all the sports that have 6 classes, which would be football, boys and girls basketball, baseball, and softball. Semifinal appearances are up 54% from what it was under 4 classes. Championship game appearances are up like 90%. And champions are up 125%. Now, they only added 2 classes, right? They didn't add 50% more classes. They actually only added, what would that have been? Like 40% more classes. Okay, but you saw an increase in every category where it's making rural Pennsylvania schools more competitive and giving those kids an opportunity to play in championships, where before it was really becoming an urban type of thing. It was an urban area completely type of thing. Now, mind you, in those numbers, there are some urban areas, because obviously Erie's got has an urban area, and, you know, Cathedral Prep is part of some of those numbers. But most of the schools that we're talking about that have made it are schools from smaller areas that are from rural Pennsylvania. Not in, like, this is just looking at 9 and 10. Like, I'm sure if you looked across the state, you would see the same thing. And you have all these people who are really, really upset over this. I mean, really upset. We should go back to 4 classifications. It's not competitive, blah, blah, blah. Is it not that is it competitive because it's 6 classifications? Is it competitive because schools can't understand that they don't belong in the playoffs?
Did you see any backwards punts this week?
No, didn't see any backwards punts this week. And that's a great example of what I'm talking about, right? Like, just because you can go to the playoffs doesn't mean you should go to the playoffs. And that is part of the problem. And we'll kind of leave it there at that this week. I mean, we're already 50 minutes into this show. People probably clicked out by now, but we'll leave it there. And you know, we'll talk. We'll see if we have champions next week, or we'll just have runner-up silver trophies down here. So that brings us another edition of Nolf Bites here from Nolf Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City. Till next week, Chris Rossetti for Andy Byers and Ronnie Geis saying goodbye. Why should you choose Nolf Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City? Why wouldn't you choose them? At Nolf, their sales are speedy and include upfront and straightforward pricing. If it's service and parts you're after, they have skilled technicians who are factory trained while offering knowledgeable parts experts. Maybe you need Nolf's full-service body shop offering top-quality collision repair to all makes and models of cars, trucks, vans, and SUVs. Or do you want to cruise the highway in a clean, shiny vehicle thanks to Nolf's detailing service? No matter your needs, Nolf Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram in Fairmont City is there for you. Find out more at NolfChryslerDodge.com.